Hello and welcome to this video all about what a new moon means for you and how to use the energies of a new moon. So in this video we're going to take a quick look, just an overview look at what the new moon symbolizes, what the new moon can teach us, what's happening in the skies when it is a new moon, how the moon influences us, the moon and our ancestors, our past, our roots, and just a quick look at a new moon ritual. So let's get started. So a new moon symbolizes new beginnings, planting new seeds. It's the start of the lunar cycle. So this is the moment that everything gets kicked off. The whole cycle just rests on that one day that's classed as the new moon. And all of the goodness of the lunar cycle begins on the new moon. It gives us potential and fresh starts. So this is a really good time for setting our intentions and starting things afresh, which we're going to go into in just a little while. So what can a new moon teach us? What can the moon cycles as a whole teach us? So they can teach us how to accept the ebb and flow of life. So life is not linear. Life is not the same every day. Life has ups and downs, just like the moon has a new moon and a full moon and a whole cycle. When we learn to work with that energy, the energy of action and then rest, we can learn to handle life when it is busy and when it is more quiet. It also teaches us that we don't have to show up every day the same way. So this means if we watch the moon in the sky, every single day it's slightly different. It's either gaining more light or gaining more darkness. And that teaches us that we don't have to show up exactly the same way every day to be whole. It teaches us that we can go through these cycles. It also teaches us that everything has balance. So when there's light, there's an equal amount of darkness. We have this constant flow of gaining and releasing, gaining and releasing. So there's lots that the moon can show us, lots that the moon can teach us. So a new moon occurs when the sun, the moon, and the earth are all in alignment. So we have the sun, the moon is in between us and the sun, and then there's us. So from our perspective, the sun is only illuminating, shining on the side of the moon that we can't see. So this means we don't see the moon at all. Another reason that we don't see the moon is that the moon rises and sets with the sun during a new moon, because it is in that alignment. It's in the same place in the sky from our perspective. So it rises and sets with the sun. So this is a big one that I talk about a lot when I'm introducing people into working with the moon, and it's how the moon influences us. And if we think about how much water that we're made up of, it's said that we're made up of around 60 to 70% water. So it would only make sense that depending on where the moon is in relation to us, we would also be affected by the gravitational pull. If the tides are affected by the gravitational pull, then surely we would be too. So this is one of the things that I find really fascinating. It's often said by the police or hospitals that there's an increase in crime or an increase in births around a full moon. So, and it's actually where the term lunacy comes from, because that was such an obvious thing to them. So the lunatics will all come out at the full moons. So we get this energy that is affecting us on a monthly basis. So the moon and our ancestors. So if we take a think back to what it would have been like before we had artificial lights and computers in our homes and all of the technology and things that we rely on today, a new moon evening, a new moon night would have been a really dark time. Without artificial light and without the reflection of the moon in the sky, the nights would have been very dark. So not much would have been able to be done during that time. So our ancestors would have probably retreated to somewhere safe. They would have gone indoors or to wherever they were living or taking shelter at the time. And this would have been probably a time for reflection for them, a time to share stories, to sit together, to make plans for the future. This would have been a time when there wasn't availability to do anything else because it couldn't have happened in that amount of darkness. So they would have had no choice but to get more rest, to take more time off. Those nights would have been darker nights. So finally, we'll look at our new moon ritual. And I've mentioned it a couple of times. So we're tapping into the energy of the sun and the moon. They're coming together in the sky, which is our ego, our life force, if you like, and our emotions coming together at the same time. So this is a good time to really get clarity on what we want to achieve for the next moon cycle. So with our ego and our emotions coming together, it's a really good space to get truthful with ourselves of what it is that we really want, what it is that we really feel drawn to. We can really get clear on those things during a new moon. And this means that we can really set good intentions for sort of the next 29 and a half days. 29 and a half days is the cycle of the moon, the lunar cycle. So it's not quite a month, but it is around about a month. So setting our intentions is the big task under any new moon. You can do it a few days before or a few days after if it's not an option for you to do it on the actual new moon. But the new moon is the best time to be setting intentions for the month ahead. And remember that new moon intentions, they can be big and they can also be just something that we want to achieve over the course of the next 4 weeks. We can save our bigger manifestations, our bigger intention setting for the wheel of the year or other calendar-based events. But the new moon is really for these short, sharp bursts of creativity and energy and a push forward to something. So that's all that I have for this video. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you for the next video, which will be the waxing crescent moon. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you soon.